What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Utah Jazz, and we're going to be talking about how they have fooled the entire NBA, and we're going to jump right into the video. In the 2022 NBA offseason, the Utah Jazz made the decision that it was best for the organization to hit the reset button. In doing so, they traded away their two best players, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, and they also traded away Bojan Bogdanovic, who was a very key rotational player. And let me say this, over the last 3 or 4 years, the Utah Jazz were a really good basketball team. Some people will argue to you that they were title contenders and they just couldn't figure it out. But over these last 3 or 4 years, they've always been top 2, top 3 when it came to offensive efficiency, and they was always top 10 in defensive rating when they had Rudy Gobert holding down the fort. So this was a pretty good basketball team, and when you have a good basketball team, it's really hard to hit that reset button. But nonetheless, they traded away those 3 guys, and they got a great haul. As a matter of fact, with the Gobert trade, they shipped him off to Minnesota, and in return they got guys like Jared Vanderbilt. They also got Malik Beasley, and then they had a multitude of first-round draft picks. The same thing with Donovan Mitchell. They shipped him off to the Cleveland Cavaliers. In return, they got Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and a bunch of first-round draft picks. So the Utah Jazz making these trades, giving up Donovan Mitchell, giving up Rudy Gobert, the 2 best players on the Utah Jazz, and then also giving up Bojan Bogdanovic, who is a very underrated player in the NBA. So glad to have him on the Detroit Pistons, but giving up a lot of their great players, bringing in young talent and bringing in all these first-round draft picks. Even myself, I can't sit up here and act like I saw this from the Utah Jazz, but everybody in the NBA world thought they were going to be trash. We thought this was going to be a down season for them, and we thought they were going to try to give themselves the best shot possible at Victor Wembanyama. Now, I'm not saying that that's off the table for the Utah Jazz, but so far, what we've been seeing from this team is the exact opposite. They have been one of the best teams in the NBA so far, and as of right now, they're the second best team in the Western Conference with a record of 8-3. And these guys aren't just beating no scrubs, they've beaten a lot of formidable opponents. They've beaten the Los Angeles Lakers, they've beaten the Los Angeles Clippers, they've also beaten the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they've also beaten the New Orleans Pelicans. So all those teams right there are very, very solid. Also the Portland Trailblazers. So some notable wins from the Utah Jazz, and some of these wins are fourth quarter comebacks like what we saw last night against the Los Angeles Clippers. This young team with all these guys were just able to rally and come back, and that's the thing with this Utah Jazz team. And we ask ourselves, what makes this Utah Jazz team so special? How are they so good? And I think the best analogy to describe this team, or the best comparison, is like one of those 3-headed Hydra snakes. You guys know one of them snakes, when you cut off one head, another one grows immediately in its place. That's the vibe that I get from this Utah Jazz team. And when you watch them play, they have one of the best offenses in the NBA. They have some great floor spacing. Whenever it's out there, it's usually 5 guys out there on the court that can knock down the 3-point shot. And then also, majority of the players on the court can attack you in so many different ways. They can play in the post, they can take you off the dribble, just so many different things to account for with this Utah Jazz team. And so far, they have so many contributors in terms of putting up points. Right now, they have 6 guys averaging double figures, and 2 of those guys are coming off the bench. So the basketball is getting spread around really greatly right now for this Utah Jazz team. And we look at this roster, I think right now it's kind of hard to determine who is the best player on this team. I think if we was to go off the numbers, I think it would be Lauri Markkanen. So far, he's having a fantastic season, and I think he could even be a surprise all-star this season for the Western Conference. So far on the season, Lauri Markkanen is putting up some great numbers. He's almost averaging a double-double, putting up 22 points per game to go along with 9.5 rebounds, shooting 51% from the field and 30% from the 3-point line. So it's amazing that Lauri Markkanen is able to put up 20 plus points per game, and his 3 three ball isn't even falling the way he wants to right now. So these are all great signs for the Utah Jazz, and Lauri Markkanen coming to the Utah Jazz is probably the best thing that's happened in his young basketball career so far, just because if we just look at him in his previous situations with the Chicago Bulls and the Cleveland Cavaliers, he doesn't really have the green light that he has now, and we saw them utilize him more of a spot up shooter, but he's so much more than that, and he's showing us just how much of a basketball game he has here with the Utah Jazz. And Lauri Markkanen, he's an intricate part of what they do on the offensive side of the ball. Like, for one, he stretches the floor with his ability to knock down the three-point shot, and as I watched him this season, something that I noticed about Lauri Markkanen is that he moves great without the basketball, cutting backdoor, running off screens, setting screens. He does a lot of things without the basketball in his hands that allows him to get easy buckets for himself and easy buckets for his teammate. And there's also his game is expanding as far as putting the basketball on the floor. He's able to get some dribble penetration, get all the way to the rim, or set up his teammate. And then his post game has gone a lot better as well. He's using his size and his strength to his advantage. He's shooting fadeaways, he's drop stepping guys, finishing strong around the rim. He's just doing a lot of different things for the Utah Jazz. So I think right now, Lauri Markkanen, the way he's been playing, he's definitely leading the charge for the Utah Jazz. And if he continues to play like this and the Jazz continues to win ball games, he's definitely going to see the All-Star team this season. And when you get past Lauri Markkanen with the Utah Jazz, this is the part that truly makes this team so special, because after Lauri Markkanen on any given night, there's about 5 other guys on the Utah Jazz that can give you problems and they can help contribute to a win. We can look at a guy like Jordan Clarkson, who is known for being the sixth man for the Utah Jazz over the last 2 years. When he started to get some real notice in the NBA, he played the six-man role so well, and now this year with Donovan Mitchell being gone, he now has the opportunity to be a starter, and he's been playing great so far. He's putting up 18 points per game to go along with five assists. And Jordan Clarkson is one of those players on any given night, he can get hot and he can go off for 35-40 points. He's a very confident basketball player. There's no shot that comes from his hands that he's not think is going through the nets. He can score from all 3 levels. You have to respect his 3-point shot. He's great in the mid-range, and he's great at getting downhill and finishing around the rim. And after Jordan Clarkson, there's a lot of fun players on this Utah Jazz team. One of my favorite players, he came from the Detroit Pistons with the Bojan Bogdanovic trade, is Kelly Olynyk. And the reason I love Kelly Olynyk is because he does all the little things that help you win basketball games. He sets screens. He's going to be cutting, moving without the basketball. He's always going to be in the right place at the right time. He's going to play defense. He's going to box out. He just does all the little things that contributes to winning basketball games. And he's one of those 6 players for the Utah Jazz that is averaging double figures. Right now, he's putting up around 13 points per game. And he also plays a huge role for the Utah Jazz offensive system because he's another big that can stretch the floor, and you have to respect his 3-point shot. So it's just unclogging everything from around the basket, making it easier for guys to get to the lane. So we have Kelly Olynyk. Another guy that the Utah Jazz got via trade this year is Collin Sexton. And I think this is a real steal. Collin right now, he's only putting up 14 points per game, which is actually very solid because he's coming off a very serious injury. But I think this pickup right here is going to pay off huge for the for the Utah Jazz in the long run. And I think the Cleveland Cavaliers, they just got really lucky with that point guard situation. Like, they drafted back-to-back great point guards with Darius Garland and Collin Sexton, because we got to remember, before Collin went down, he was putting up 23-24 points per game. So the Utah Jazz, they got themselves a very solid point guard with him, and I think he still has a lot of potential, and he's another confident basketball player on both sides of the ball. He also has the potential to be an elite 3-level scorer. He can knock down the 3-point shot. He's very athletic, very explosive. He can get to the rim off the dribble, can do so many different things. He can create plays, and it's good to see him getting back out onto the court and producing quality minutes minutes for a winning basketball team. So I love the addition of Colin Sexton. And then you also still have Mike Conley Jr., who's a veteran in this league. He's also contributing to helping these young guys win basketball games. He's doing a great job of getting guys to the right spot, scoring the basketball when he needs to, and still creating plays. So the Utah Jazz, they have a very great team. Jared Vanderbilt also contributes, does a great job rebounding the basketball at his size. Malik Beasley comes in and knock down big time shots whenever he's in the game. It's just a very complete basketball team, and you never know coming in, you never know which one of these guys are going to beat you. And they just come in, they play hard every night, they spread the basketball around, everybody is cutting to the rim, moving without the basketball, and it's really just like one unit. There's 5 guys out there on the court, but it's like everyone is in sync, and then they're also locked in defensively. So this Utah Jazz team so far this season, they've been very fun to watch. We're going to see how long they can keep up these winning ways, but that's going to be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below what you think about the Utah Jazz, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.